So, Jesus, Muhammad, and the Buddha walked into a bar. The bartender took one look at them and said, "Get out right now. We don't like your kind. You're not welcome here." So they came here, and we welcomed them. And we welcome you, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter where you're from, you are welcome here. I'm Ann Tomalavage. Whether you are a member, a guest, or a curious first-timer, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. Since 1967, we've been a warm and welcoming liberal community right here in Pottstown. Our founders poured their hearts, their resources, and their talents into creating this special place for us, and together we carry on their inspiring legacy. In their spirit, we continue their mission of nurturing spiritual journeys, embracing diversity, celebrating community, and turning values into action. If this is your first time here or your 101st time, we're glad you are here. This community is what it is because of your presence. Welcome to this space of love, support, justice, compassion, fellowship, worship, and crying. We're glad you're here. Now's the time to share what's coming up, what help you need, what's new in our fellowship, etc. While we're waiting for our announcers to line up, I'd like to thank Rick for doing our AV and his team, and for Kay, who will be leading us in song. So, announcers, of course, Monica, come on up.
Sorry, back. I am supporting UUFP by wearing this lovely sweatshirt. You can also get your own lovely sweatshirt by clicking this little QR code and going to our UUFP store. It's a fundraiser for the church, so please check it out. It's a good idea for the holidays coming up, for gift giving. Also, we are doing a family fun night on Friday, January 2nd from 6 to 9, and we're going to have games and things like that. I wasn't able to print the thing out, but I will get something printed, and I'm going to put an RSVP sign-up list so that way we know for games and stuff, but I'm going to put that out here on the board. So if you're interested, please sign up. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Valerie. The raffle tickets are here today. We will start selling these, and the items will be on display for the next few weeks. I still have more stuff coming in. I have heard from a few people that I might get things over the next couple weeks. I'm very excited. It's turned into a lot of really great stuff. The raffle tickets, you can get 5 tickets for $10 or 12 tickets for $20. And I will put I don't have the jars today to put your tickets in, so just hold on to them, and I will get the jars put out soon. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Sam. A few quick announcements. On the order of service, you'll notice on the back a survey asking for your input about the service for today and every Sunday. It would be really great if you fill it out. You don't have to write a whole lot of stuff. A lot of it is, how do you rate this 1 to 5? Was there anything you really liked, anything you didn't like, or any further topics? I'm doing it just because I think it's important that we let the worship committee know what we like and what we'd like to see. I think it's important. And Irene's not here today, but she's in charge of that. It will be come January. So if we can help her out, that would be great. Second announcement really quick. I went out and purchased 3 pull-up and push-up shades for the 2 major classrooms. I got one installed yesterday. It took me over an hour. I hate these things. I'll be back tomorrow and get the other 2 put in. I think it's the inverse classroom. I think it's the one that has the 2 windows. I can't remember the name sometimes. And the third thing is, what was that? Oh, just a quick, the cleaning service came yesterday and spent an hour and a half just thoroughly cleaning the bathrooms. Apparently, I'm not being critical. My cleaning wasn't good enough. because she actually scrubbed down the walls, which I didn't get time to. So she'll be back tomorrow, so you may notice that it's not as clean as we thought it would be for having a professional cleaning service, but she'll be back tomorrow. And then in a couple of weeks or so, when the New York tradition people are here, she'll come in and do the first, what we're calling the deep cleaning, where she really cleans really good. I will take up the rest of December on the weeks that she's not here cleaning, primarily because it's just easier for me to do it because I'll be here on Thursdays and Fridays anyways. Okay, if you have any questions about the cleaning, let me know. I think that's it. I'm done.
I want to thank Sam for handling the cleaning issues because that is such a big deal. It's just tedious is what it is. So thank you so much, Sam. I'm CJ Rhodes. Hello, everyone. Yes, there will be a labyrinth walk on January 1st. I have now decided we are going to have one no matter what. I'm going to make sure it happens. I've talked to Sally. She's going to be, unfortunately, she is not in good enough health to do it herself, but we are going to take it over. I'm going to go over and talk to her about how she wants us to do it. I'm going to get all the accoutrements, what she's been storing in her house, and I'm very familiar with how to lay out the things, so we're going to have it. What I need is I need 4 volunteers, and we're talking about whether or not we can lay it out on the Sunday before and pick it up on the Sunday afterwards so that we have people who are already here to help, or if we're not able to do that, making a time that's convenient for people to come and lay it out and pick it up. So I created a flyer. I haven't printed it out yet, but we'll print out the flyers and we'll get it out to everyone, but we will have I also discovered by looking on the web that we've been having this New Year's Day tradition for the labyrinth since 2020. That was the first time it was actually on the web, as 2020 was the first year that we did it. So see it.
I'm Mary. Just a quick, since we are confused, but there's nothing new about that, about December 21st service, I'd like to see Valerie for a second afterward, and then Monica, Valerie for what we're doing on the 24th. I've got it planned. I just want to run it around with a couple of people. Wouldn't hurt to have Kay come too. And the reason Sam announced the thing about the feedback is he's the only one who does it every Sunday. So I get one in there, I know his handwriting. And I had one other thing, but I'll be darned if I remember what it was. So anyway, it'll be a quick little meeting. Oh, I know what it is. I do know one thing. We are definitely going to have the children's choir again on the 24th. It may be the same size as last year. It may be bigger. They're working on that. So we'll hope to see everybody. Yes, Miss?
Is there a service on the 28th?
Oh, that's the one. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, the whole idea of using the service crowd to lay out the labyrinth on the 28th. It's a lovely idea, but we won't be here. So we can either lay it out if anybody wants to after the Christmas Eve, or we'll figure out somebody coming in during the week before.
So there's no service on the 28th?
No service on the 28th.
Last one, real quick.
Our December community concert is going to be next Sunday, December 14th at 4 p.m. and that is the Pennsylvania Flute Choir Holiday Concert, and it should be very fun. I think I've been pitching the various levels of flute, bass flute, alto flute, and certainly if you're interested in joining us, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you at the Glenmore United Methodist Church, and I can also, if you want, I can send you an email to have it on your calendar. So come see me, and hopefully we'll see you there.
I saw it in the Sojourn.
That's right,
so
the
you have
Sojourn.
you have a list of all the things coming up. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I want to thank CJ for volunteering to light our chalice today. And I know that we usually have a reading at this point, a real quick one. I forgot. But what I was thinking about is 1,000 points of light, not hiding our light under a bushel, and also the city has a light on top of the hill. So take your pick. CJ, thank you very much. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna, before I strike the chime, I'd like to ask everyone to put your phone in worship mode. If you go into settings, you'll see a little airplane with a halo. So just go ahead and tap on that. Now, as you know, the chime allows us to come into the present and focus on the gift that is the present moment. And the present moment is a gift, and it's appropriate for our season. So here we go. Now, these words from Maya Angelou may be familiar to you. I've had so many rainbows in my clouds. I had a lot of clouds, so I don't ever feel I have no help. I've had rainbows in my clouds. And the thing to do, it seems to me, is to prepare yourself so that you can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. Somebody who may not look like you, may not call God the same name you call God, if they call God at all, you see, may not eat the same dishes, prepared the same way you do, may not dance your dances or speak your language. Be a blessing to somebody. That's what I think. All right, Kay is going to lead us in opening hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love. Some helper readers. Will you come up, please? And anyone else who would like to come up front. So we've got, the readers are Sybil, Cyrus, and Sydney.
Sydney is AWOL, so this is Henry.
Oh, Henry, okay. All right, and you all have your papers. And I'll tell you when to come in, okay? All right. Everybody ready? Do you want a mat? Okay. All right. So this is called The Kind Elephant, and it's by Shahzad Khan. Now, I looked Shahzad up. He's either a Canadian cricketer, a neurologist with Lehigh Valley Health Network, web developer, developer, an attorney, a general and laparoscopic surgeon, a Bollywood actor, ... So anyway, let's hope he's in Lehigh Valley. This story is called The Kind Elephant. Deep in the heart of a lush green forest, there lived a gentle and kind elephant named Alara. She was the largest animal in the jungle, yet she was also the most compassionate. Alara loved helping others, whether it was clearing paths for smaller animals, lifting fallen trees, or sharing fruits from the tall branches that others couldn't reach. One day, as Alara was strolling near the river, she heard a faint cry for help. She followed the sound and found a tiny rabbit stuck in the mud near the riverbank. The more the rabbit struggled, the deeper he sank. "Please help me," the rabbit cried. "I can't get out." With hesitation, Alara stretched out, I think it's without no hesitation, Alara stretched out her long trunk and gently wrapped it around the rabbit. With a careful pull, she freed him from the sticky mud and placed him on solid ground. "Thank you, Alara," the rabbit said, shaking off the mud. "You saved my life." Alara smiled. "It was nothing, little friend. Be careful near the riverbank next time." The rabbit hopped away happily, and Alara continued her walk. And then she encountered the ungrateful tiger. So, Sybil, you're going to be, where's the, no, it's not Sybil. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Here, do you want the mic? Yeah, sure, okay.
A little while later, Alara heard a loud roar. She hurried towards the noise and saw a fierce tiger named Arjar trapped in a hunter's net. Arjar was known for his arrogance. He often bullied smaller animals and bragged about his strength. Now he was helpless, snarling and brushing in the net. "Help me out, elephant," Arjar demanded. "Get me out of here." Alara hesitated. Arjar had never been kind to anyone, but she couldn't bear to see any creature in pain. She stepped forward and used her strong tusks to tear the net apart. Once free, Arjar stretched and yawned, not even looking at Alara. "It's about time someone helped me," he muttered, and walked away without a word of thanks. Alara sighed, but didn't let his rudeness bother her. She knew kindness was its own reward. A few days later, as Alara was drinking from the river, she heard a loud snap and a pained growl. She rushed toward the sound and saw Rajan caught in another net trap. This time, his paw was stuck in a sharp metal claw set by hunters. He was in terrible pain. "Alara, please help me again," Rajan begged, his voice filled with fear. Alara could have walked away. After all, Rajan had never appreciated her help before, but she didn't. She carefully used her trunk and tusks to pry open the trap, freeing the tiger. Rajan limped out, his paw bleeding. This time, he didn't walk away. He lowered his head in shame. "Alara, I don't deserve your kindness. I was rude to you, yet you saved me twice. Why?" Alara smiled warmly. "Kindness isn't about what others deserve. It's about who we choose to be." Rajan was deeply moved. From that day on, he changed his ways. He stopped bullying the smaller animals and even began helping them just as Alara did.
And Anthony.
One evening, a wildfire broke out in the forest. The animals panicked, running in all directions. Alara began being large and strong, helped many animals escape by carrying them on her back through the flames. Suddenly, she heard a cry. It was the little rabbit she had saved earlier, trapped in another fallen branch. Without thinking, Ryan rushed forward and lifted the branch, freeing the rabbit. Together, The elephant and Rajan led the animals to safety when the fire was finally put out in the rain. The forest was scorched, but many animals were alive thanks to their teamwork. The animals gathered around Ariel, cheering for her, even running about before her. "You've taught me true meanings of kindness," he said, "and now I understand. It makes the world a better place." And I nodded. "A kind heart is the strongest force of all." From that day on, the forest became a happier place. The animals lived in harmony, helping one another, all because the lesson they learned from the kind elephant.
The end. Thank you all very much, and let's give a clap to our reader. And let's sing them out. This is from Martin Luther King Jr. and it's called "I Have Decided to Stick with Love." I'm concerned about a better world. I'm concerned about justice, about brotherhood and sisterhood. I'm concerned about truth. And when one is concerned about that, he can never advocate violence. For through violence, you may murder a murderer, but you can't murder murder. Through violence, you may murder a liar, but you can't establish truth. Through violence, you may murder a hater, but you can't murder hate through violence. Darkness cannot put out darkness, only light can do that. And I say to you, I have also decided to stick with love, for I know that love is ultimately the only answer to humankind's problems. And I'm going to talk about it everywhere I go. I know it isn't popular to talk about it in some circles today. And I'm not talking about emotional bosh when I talk about love. I'm talking about a strong, demanding love. For I have seen too much hate, and I say to myself, that hate is too great a burden to bear. I have decided to love. If you are seeking the highest good, I think you can find it through love. And the beautiful thing is that we aren't moving wrong when we do it, because John was right. God is love. He who hates does not know God, but he who loves has the key that unlocks the door to the meaning of ultimate reality. And so I say to you today, my friends, that you may be able to speak with the tongues of men and angels. You may have the eloquence of articulate speech, but if you have not love, it means nothing. Yes, you may have the gift of prophecy, you may have the gift of scientific prediction and understand the behavior of molecules. You may break into the storehouse of nature and bring forth many new insights. Yes, you may ascend to the heights of academic achievement so that you have all knowledge, and you may boast of your great institutions of learning and the boundless extent of your degrees, but if you have not love, all these mean absolutely nothing. You may even give your goods to feed the poor. You may bestow great gifts to charity, and you may tower high in philanthropy. But if you do not have love, your charity means nothing. You may even give your body to be burned and die the death of a martyr, and your spilt blood may be a symbol of honor for generations yet unborn. And thousands may praise you as one of history's greatest heroes. But if you have not love, your blood was spilt in vain. What I'm trying to get you to see this morning is that a man may be self-centered in his self-denial and self-righteous in his self-sacrifice. His generosity may feed his ego, and his piety may feed his pride. So without love, benevolence becomes egotism, and martyrdom becomes spiritual pride. Now, time for our offering. We just had Thanksgiving and Giving Tuesday. Giving is not about duty, it is an offering, an invitation to invest in the life of this community, to nurture its spirit, and to carry its mission forward. We now receive the morning offering with open hands and open hearts. If you are here for the first time or 100th time, the offering is just that. It's not a fee, it's not dues, it's just whatever you want it to be. We're just glad you're here with us. And you don't have to get anything if you don't want to. I want to start by saying that I'm not Jesus-y. I was raised Catholic. I'm going to speak from my heart and my experience, so I hope I don't offend anyone. Now, what I just said is a Catholic thing. You can tell I was raised Catholic. I'm not here to bash the Catholic Church, well, maybe a little, but what I am here to do today is to share with you how and why I turned my back on a church I didn't really consider home, but more of an apartment for most of my 75 years on earth. I turned my back on a church that I feel has focused more on dogma for over 2,000 years rather than the founder's simple message of love. I want to share with you how I found a community that allows me to believe in God as I understand him, rather than the God and everything else as defined by us. Why did I leave? Well, because of this certitude. This is the only way. This dogma is it. I realized in high school that I couldn't find Christ's simple message of love in all that noise. My soul was starving. I felt that the church wrapped Christ's message of love in a hard case of dogma. When we were kids, we used to collect horse chestnuts. I don't know if any of you ever did. Hundreds of them, Acme bags full of them. I don't know if you've ever seen one or held one, but they have kind of a prickly outer shell. The prize was when we opened them. There was a beautiful mahogany colored chestnut with the smoothest surface ever. We used to rub them on our cheeks and we were in heaven. It was heaven to us. Now, I wanted to have a tangible example of how I felt about the church, the horse chestnut, but I couldn't find any in our yard or a neighborhood. But just imagine a prickly outer shell that focused on dogma that you had to crack to get to the chestnut, Christ's message. His message is buried in there. You just have to dig for it and then discard the shell. Now, there are more than 1.4 billion Catholics in the world. That's 17.7% of the world's population. We can't deny that the Catholic Church has a lot of appeal to that many people, just not me. There are so many things that have bothered me about the church over the years. As you might imagine, the most bothersome are the ways that the church treats women. No women priests, no choice, no divorce, no contraception until fairly recently. Why does the dogma say it's someone else's business, especially old, white, never married men? So I would like to say to them, if you've never had a period, it's none of your business. Period. But here was the final straw. When my devout brother was visiting from Tulsa, I took him to Mass at a local parish. It happened to be the Sunday after that Dobbs memo was leaked, just before the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The priest's opening salvo in his homily was, and I quote, because what he said is so unforgettable and unforgivable to me. He said, I agree with Nancy Pelosi's cardinal. She should be excommunicated because of her pro-abortion stance. The scales have fallen, scales from our eyes, the fangs are out. Here's the thing, Catholics have to be prepared to go to war. He actually said that. So enough already. And when I got out into the car, I said to my brother, if you hadn't been there, I would have walked out. And my devout brother said, if you hadn't been there, I would have walked out. That was pretty shocking. Why did I stay as long as I did? Well, for two reasons. Pastors who were, or priests who were pastors, not politicians, not preachers. So think of fire and brimstone. And the other reason is the community. Why did I leave a particular parish or community? Well, either because I moved or because I felt uncomfortable with the pastor. But in all cases, I was sad to leave the community behind. Now, what makes Catholics stay, some of them? Well, my research included 3 boomers, and all you need for a conclusion to draw a line is 3 points, right? But anyway, what they told me is it's how we were brought up. You know, the nuns really kind of beat it into us. But I'm wondering, how are young Catholics being raised today? I would like to know about that. Another reason is familiarity. You know, the ritual is comforting. I have to say, I miss the incense and the pageantry, which I'm sure Christ would have hated. And my sister tells me she hated it too. There's some exposure to Christ's message at each Mass and community. Now, once I made the decision to leave the Catholic Church for good, and I know that the write-up said I was Catholic for the first 18 years of my life, I actually was in and out until I signed the book here earlier this year. But, you know, once I made the decision to leave, I really wandered the desert. My best friend can tell you that I yearned for a group who were not Jesus-y, but lived Christ's message of love, whether or not they associated their behavior and beliefs with Christ. And when my husband Joe and I moved to North Coventry 33 years ago, I actually walked here for services occasionally, back when crossing Route 100 didn't result in roadkill. And I remember when Kay was a farmer, where is she? In a skit. Yeah, her farmer in a skit. And it was about GMO.
Yes.
And I think Miranda may have been the scientist. So I decided to take another look at Unitarian Universalism. And I'm going to say UU from here on, because that's kind of a tongue twister for me. So I loaded up my Kindle with several books about UU. I read that UUs rely on nature, facts, and reason to inform our beliefs. Now, as an engineer, I found that attractive, but I needed to find books that spoke to the type and depth of emotion and spirituality to match mine. And again, I hope you don't get offended, but I found a lot of the books very dry. But maybe I was reading the wrong books or didn't understand that what I was looking for was right there on that page. But then I just happened to stumble upon this book. Let me get it. It's called Christ for Unitarian Universalists, and it's by Scotty McClendon. Now, this book was exactly what I needed when I needed it. Is it odd or is it God? Now, Scotty is a retired UU minister. He served as chaplain at Tufts for 16 years, then at Stanford for 14 years. As he explains it, in both cases, he was responsible for the spiritual and ethical nurturance of all students, faculty, and staff, regardless of their religious or philosophical backgrounds or lack thereof. As I read this book, I was gobsmacked. Imagine my surprise when I read about several UUs who had similar background to mine and walked away because the faith they grew up in somehow just didn't speak to their souls. So let me illustrate with 3 of Scotty's examples. The first is an unnamed minister from a conservative Christian denomination who became a UU minister because he could not subscribe to some of the basic beliefs of his conservative Christian tradition, including that everyone who was not Christian was condemned to hell. Now, as a Catholic, I learned something softer, believe it or not, that non-Catholics could not get a ticket to heaven. Now, maybe that meant that they were going to go to hell, but anyway, this UU pastor continued to live in the Christian story, which he said described his own story. He was no longer a creedal Christian, but he remained a narrative Christian. That is, he was part of a story that cannot be spoken, it cannot only be spoken and written, but also chanted, sung, danced, and acted in drama that can be painted, sculpted, and built into architecture. Now, I obviously never became any sort of pastor, but I resonate with his attitude. The next example is a UU attorney, Carol Stamatakis, who left private law practice for public interest law, in particular, prosecuting people who had engaged in child abuse and neglect. She found comfort and support in visualizing Christ by her side during her workday, sitting in courtrooms and watching over children and parents. Now, I relate to this because I try to remember that Christ is always by my side. Now, I'm not Jesus-y, but, I try to live by Christ's message. So whether I remember that or not, and I do often forget. The third example is Rachel Noyen, who is a natural childbirth educator and a professional tarot reader in Providence, Rhode Island. She says, I have been slain by the Spirit. I have conversations with God while driving on the highway. I am full-blown in love with God and have completely accepted that Jesus really is my personal Savior. And I am a lifelong UU. Like I said, I'm not Jesus-y, but it's so interesting to see that a lifelong UU would feel so strongly about Jesus. Now, Wikipedia says that UUism, and it does use that word, is a liberal religious tradition characterized by its commitment to theological diversity, inclusivity, and social justice. Unitarian Universalists do not adhere to a single creed or doctrine. Instead, they are unified by shared covenants across congregations based on foundational values and principles centered on love and pluralistic worship. Now, we're Unitarians, but I find that the Trinity can be helpful to me. Trinity is like an official Swiss Army knife. Now, this is official. It was given to me by a Swiss client who obviously had been in the Swiss Army. Now, Believe it or not, and he stole this from his barracks. Believe it or not, there are just 3 features, all of them blades. No tweezers, no toothpicks, no corks. Now, I think of God as the founder and CEO. Christ is the COO, and the Holy Spirit is the CIO, or Chief Inspiration Officer. I relate most to Christ because he was human, and I call on the Holy Spirit whenever I need inspiration, but mostly I just use the term God. But I also need God in skin. Joe, my husband, sitting up front here, he's been my main God in skin for 45 years. He helps me see who I really am, and he still loves me. My sister Pat, now I've talked about her before many times. You know that she's a longtime UU. Well, she's been God in skin for our whole lives. She explained that UUism is covenantal, whereas Catholicism is creedal, which is another word for dogma. Covenantal was what I yearned for, community. Pat had the courage to leave the Catholic Church when she was in high school. If I told you right now out loud how our mother reacted, I'd have to go to confession. Now, my dear friend Annie, who died a few years ago, always used to say, love is the answer no matter what. She gave me this card. I have it in my desk blotter, and I wanted to share that with you. Now, my mother-in-law, who was one of the most devout Catholics I have ever met, told Joe and me a surprising story. She made her home in an assisted living facility. Now, every Sunday, she went to Mass, but she also enjoyed the Sunday talks in the afternoon by Pastor Paul, who led a local Protestant church. One Sunday, she came out from the gathering, and one of the other residents spotted her and said, "Gee, what are you doing in there with all those Protestants?" To which Mom replied, "Bob, there are many paths to God." I could not believe that was coming out of her mouth. So, for Unitarians, we're also Universalists, which means all are welcome in heaven. If Christ were to come back and found a church today, I believe it would be like ours, or maybe even ours. In any case, we would welcome him, Muhammad, and the Buddha, and all the other guides to the mountaintop. Now, lots of people joke that UUs can believe whatever they want, but no matter who we are, no matter what we believe, all are welcome here. When I signed the book earlier this year, I committed to our principles and purposes, and I made a covenant with you. And you know that the principles and purposes are on the back of the order of service, just above the survey. And that on the front, the middle, the center is love, which is Christ's message. All right. So in our principles and purposes, we say we covenant to affirm and promote. And you know, like I said, at the center of the shared covenant here is love. Now, the Beatles wrote a song about it, didn't they? All you need is love. And I have to tell you that I have found my community here with you. Amen. Now, our closing hymn will be number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. So stand in body or spirit as you choose. enter a time of sharing joys and sorrows. During this time, we turn off the video cameras out of respect to those who would like to share. Alex? Please read along. I want to close with one of my favorite meditations. It's called We Are Blessed Today by Tony Brady. I have the Insight Timer app, and so that's where I found it. He says, may you be a blessing to everyone you meet today. May you bring light to every difficult situation. May you be a place where someone can find refuge in a storm. May you be a quiet listener, a comfort in someone's time of grief, a source of someone's hope. May the world be a little brighter tomorrow because you have woken up to the gift of this new day. May you be poor in misfortune, rich in blessings, slow to make enemies, quick to make friends, but rich or poor, quick or slow, may you know nothing but happiness from this day forward. So let us continue our happiness in the social hall by sharing in refreshments, or as you know, my sister calls it, Unitarian Communion. So until we meet again, stay sunny, go in peace, namaste, shalom, amen, and blessed be. Toodaloo.